Every time I go to do a video, this is what happens. Every single time. All right. Last thing we did was flash the firmware onto the HAP, and we upgraded it with the sys upgrade, and now we're going to configure the node. Now this configuration is specific to my area. We're part of the Southmesh. Most of the country is on the SSID AREDN, A-R-E-D-N. I'm on Southmesh. It's not a big deal, but that's just how it is around here. So the chances are you're not in my area and you're going to use AREDN as your SSID. You'll more than likely use 10 megahertz, and if you're on 2 gig, you're going to use channel -2. I don't know what channel 5 gig is going to be. I just arbitrarily put mine at 149, but don't go by that. You need to find out from your guys in your area. All right, so we did the sys upgrade. It is doing its cycle, and we're going to need to go and pull up. All you're going to do is rename the node. So yeah, let's back. I might actually put this at the beginning. Directly after uploading the sys upgrade file, when you log back into the node, the first thing you do, you have to do this, is rename your node. It's going to say no call and possibly some numbers. You need to rename the node to whatever you name it to. Whatever your area has as a standard naming procedure, that's what you need to do. And you need to set your password. Password and verify, hit save, and it will automatically reboot the node. After that, that is when you go back and change your IP address to automatic DHCP instead of fixed at 192.168.1.1. I go down here, open Network and Sharing Center. That brings me to here. Pull up the Ethernet, TCP IPv4, click it, and then you go to Properties. Get to where you can control your IP address. We manually put it in at the beginning of this to 192.168.1.10. We're going to put it on automatic because the node is now going to assign the computer its IP address. So hit OK, close out. Home. Now, I don't have this down to a science, but sometimes you have to unplug it and plug it back in. I don't think we have to do it this time, but I think we have to do it next time. And it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm going to really take my time and try to not tell you incorrectly. This node is for one of our operators. I'm going to be giving it to him tomorrow. So we'll just wait on it. You really have to be patient at this time. Okay, looks like it's assigned. Now we're going to go to local http://localnode.local.mesh:8080. I've saved it in bookmarks, so that's where I'm going to go. Sometimes it doesn't work immediately. You have to put in the IP address, which I'm glad that popped up because you need to know how to do that. So go to Open Network and Sharing Center, go back to the Ethernet, go to Details. The IP address is the lowest number. So if you see a series of numbers, which you will, those are IP addresses, go with the lowest number. Since it's host 5, it starts at, in this case, 161, and then it has the next 5. So 161 is the IP address. I'm going to go ahead and write that down, and so should you. Okay, so you've written it down. So go up to the browser, 10 dot, whatever you have, enter what you have. There we go. We've already renamed it. And this is a MikroTik. Hap AC Light. Number 101, Knoxville. Every area has a different format. This is just what we're doing for now. Hit save. Now, over here is where I was talking about the SSID. If you have AREDN as your SSID and you try to connect to somebody that has anything different, if one letter is different, it will not connect. Again, most of the country and world uses AREDN. For whatever reason, 8 or 9 years ago, when they set up the mesh network in Tennessee, they went with Southmesh. Well, if I want to take part in that, I need to put it at Southmesh. Southmesh, -2, 10 megahertz. Perfect. I'm going to turn the power down because I don't need it blasting me. And we're going to turn the link quality manager off in a second, but for now, just hit apply and save. Now, typically, this is only if it's above 5. That's for like a big base station that you're going to have several things plugged into it. Typically, you're fine with the 5. That means that you can hook in 5 devices to your node, and it will give it IP addresses. 9 times out of 10, 5 hosts direct is plenty. Don't take up extra IP addresses if you're not sure that you're going to use them, because we only have a certain amount in the AREDN network. And the more people that kind of hog out on them, it puts more strain on the system and has less available for everyone else. So just leave it at 5 hosts direct unless you know for a fact that you're going to have more than 6. Well, I guess in this case it'd be 5. Okay, just leave that. And let's do this. I'm not going to connect to the LAN, but this is going to be your Wi-Fi. This is how you're going to connect. If you don't have an Ethernet cable, you can wirelessly connect to your HAP. This is an access point. Just like if you go to connect to your house Wi-Fi, or you go to Starbucks, and I don't know what it says, but say it says Starbucks guest Wi-Fi. This is what that is. So we're going to put in his call sign. We're going to name it it's the HAP. It's number 101, and this is the LAN, LAN. And we're going to enter a password. I don't know what the channels do. I really have no idea. I just leave it where it's at. Hit save. Now this Wi-Fi, WAN Wi-Fi, this is you connecting to your home internet. If you want to use your internet at your house, mine is called State Police. So I would enter State Police and then the password, and I would check the box. Here's an important point. There are 2 radios on the HAP, one 2 gig and one 5 gig. The only radio that can connect RF is the 2 gig. That leaves you with 2 options to use your 5 gig radio. You cannot simultaneously have them both. So you need to either advertise your own Wi-Fi in order to connect to your node, or you need to connect to your home internet. You cannot use both. And they have to be 5 gig if the mesh RF is on. If the mesh RF is not on, then you can use 2 gig here and 5 gig here, or vice versa. There are only 2 radios available and only 1 band available at a time. I'm going to connect to the internet here because I want to update this information or upload this information to the servers. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to have to, because this is going to connect to the other nodes in my house that are connected to the internet. It will get internet from the other nodes. These nodes over here are connected to each other, which are connected to this, which this is my base station QTH node, which is connected to the internet. So it shares internet with all the nodes connected to it, which is just so cool in my mind. So let's do this. Let's do the LAN access point. So that is going to advertise its name. So we hit save. Now I don't know his latitude and longitude. I'm just going to put something close. I'll use something near me. 35 point. He's northwest of me, so I'll just try to make it a little bit more northwest. You can also use a grid square. You can go on to, which I thought about doing it, but I'll let him mess with that. You can probably go on to QRZ and find their grid square, and it's several letters and numbers. In this case, we're just going to do 35 dot. You know what? I think my dad is 36, and he is at the same relative latitude as him. So 36.01214. I'm just making it up. I don't know where that's at. And negative 83. So let's go negative 83. And the higher the number, the farther west it is. So he's west of me. So I'm going to do 83.8922. I don't know where it's going to end up. And you're going to hit apply location settings. Now, here's something else important. Sometimes it does this. It will disappear. Or if you're changing the number, it will change back to the old number. Don't worry about it. It did take hold. It just sometimes shows up differently. See, I hit save and it came back. So don't get caught entering it 5 or 10 times. It does take the first time. Be sure to hit apply location settings and you're good. The time zone. We're in the Eastern time zone. So you're going to come down to New York. And hit save. Now there's more we need to do, but for this, oh, and also here's something that's optional. If you hate Google like I do, I like to use, oh man, it's escaping me now. It's the biggest competitor for DNS, and I'm blanking on what it's called, but we go 1.1.1.1 Cloudflare, 1.0.0.1. We've had 0 issues from it. Instead of using Google, we're using Cloudflare as a DNS. And that's just a phone book. It's big enough to where you're not going to notice, but you're going to keep Google out of your business as much as possible. All right. So let's double check everything. MikroTik app AC Lite. Yes, yes, yes. Southmesh, negative 210, 1. We'll change this in a minute. And W3VN, HAP 101 LAN, password, DHCP, we're good. So we're going to reboot. This is just a standard reboot. Okay. It returned by itself. I didn't have to do anything else. So the next settings we're going to change. That was all under basic setup. I guess I should have pointed that out, but hopefully you saw it. We're going to go over here to advanced kit configuration. Again, this is specific to us. I was taught this by an expert. These settings might be different for you. We're going to turn the link quality manager off. Save. Allow other mesh nodes to use WAN. That's our internet. Not recommended and off by default. We turn that on. Save. I don't know what this is. I've asked about it and I can't get an answer. Provide default route to LAN devices. I don't know what that means. We have put this at 1, but again, this might be different for you. This is what we do is 1. PoE pass-through. Now, if you have a radio that runs on 24 volts, you can plug it into the number 5 port and you can turn this on and you don't have to get an external PoE. It's very nice. Also, this we leave on because we're going to be plugging IP phones into this. 5 volt IP phones. This will be in a presentation tomorrow, and I'm going to be taking that phone over there and plugging it into here. One less power wall wart to deal with. So I'm going to leave that on. You know what? I'm going to turn the PoE on also, just in case we want to hook in a radio. Because we're going to have several radios. Pretty sure that's all we do. Don't go messing around with these. Do not overlook this warning. I never mess with this. I was scared to even look over here at this until I had an expert on the phone telling me exactly what to do. And even now, anything below here, I don't look. Yeah, I haven't changed anything down here. I just don't know what it means. It's past my pay grade. But these few, you do need to change. So we've saved it, and we're going to reboot again to apply them. Okay, this one timed out. No big deal. We hit local node. Let's see if it comes up with that. I'm going to show these issues because they might happen to you. Just don't freak out. Nothing's broken. There are several ways to connect. It's not like in this one. So let's try just the IP address. So this is where we might have to give it a new lease. Refresh it. Let's try local node. Nope. Okay. Unplug it. Just plug it in the port next to it. You don't have to do the next one. I just did. Okay, here's the third method. Let's try local node real quick. Nope. So here's the third method. http://. Then you're going to type in the exact name. This one is that. .local.mesh:8080. So the exact name that you named it, .local.mesh:8080. Still nothing. That's strange. Well, I'm still going to put this in the video because I want people to see it happens. Oh, you know what I did? I need to do this. That's what it is. Instead of, see this thing, I don't know how to explain it. If it's plugged into this, it shows it's connected to something and it doesn't completely reset correctly. If you unplug this and then plug it back in, it usually behaves properly. So now okay, now it's doing what we want. See, I'm glad that happened. So just unplugging it from the HAP from the switch does not always work. You need to do it, the one that's directly in the computer. To play it extra safe, you could unplug it from the actual computer and plug it back in. It just gives it a new lease, which I don't know what that means. I just know that's what it's called. It resets the connection with a clean connection. So now the HAP is talking to the computer and assigning it an IP address. And you can assign this computer to the HAP with a fixed IP address, or you can just leave it as it is default. and it will just potentially give it a new one each time you unplug it and plug it back in. As long as you have 5 open, that's not a problem. You won't notice. I want to emphasize in the video that a lot of this stuff takes time, so don't freak out if it's taking what seems like a ridiculously long time. You can see the red, that means the PoE is on, and you can see the number 3 port is connected, and that's where we're connected. The HAP TC, the lights are a lot dimmer. If you see the HAP, the regular HAP, the lights are way brighter, which I do like the brighter lights, but there are worse problems to deal with. Okay, looks like we're connected, so let's open the browser back up. Local node. What? Great. All right, let's try the IP address, 10 dot. I really hate this part of the process. I always have problems. Absolutely every single time. I don't know what to deal with. So, when in doubt, reboot. So, if you get into this problem, reboot your computer. And if you do more than a couple, you will probably run into this. I don't know what causes it, but it happens a lot, which is why I don't like this part of the process, which is all the more reason to put it online. Let's jump back and make sure we have the DHCP on to automatic. Okay, there we go. It should work. So, open the browser back up. Well, now it's working some more. Let's hold up. It is still doing something down there, though, so we'll just give it a second. Like I said, this is the most frustrating part of the process, in my opinion. Because it's never the same. It's like every time I do it, it's different. And this is after 100+ times. All right, it looks like it's settled down. Open the browser back up. Local node. No. Okay, let's go with the IP address. 10 dot. I've almost memorized it by now. Oh my gosh, man. All right, I'm going to do something that's unorthodox, but not crazy. I'm going to unplug this. I'm going to plug into my main node that I know works, and I'm going to try to come in via RF. I really don't know what's going on. I honestly think it's this last firmware release. I have had more problems with this firmware release than I care to mention. Okay, I'm connected to my house node. Open the browser. Local node. Mesh status. Oh, there it is. Cool. Okay, we've got a pretty mediocre connection, but give it a second here. You can access remote nodes and neighbors from miles and miles away. Somebody in Alaska can come into my node, configure it for me, and save. Obviously, they need to be trustworthy. Man, I don't have much faith in this last firmware update. I've had 4 nodes go completely dead. They were MikroTik light dish feeds. Man, this was supposed to be a quick video. Let's see if we can connect. Oh my gosh. You know what, let's just lose the switch. Going to port 2. Their services are no longer needed. I'm really debating whether to put all this in there. I don't think I will, but it's not completely off the table. Maybe I'll just summarize that, hey, you can run into a number of problems, this being one of them. I'd say 75% of the time this happens. Okay, at this point, we're going to try it one more time. If it doesn't go through, since we are past the firmware updates we're configuring now, there's no risk to rebooting. So if it gives us some problems, we're just going to reboot the node, which, when in doubt, reboot the node. Let's see what it's saying. Saying no network access, that's what has me concerned a little bit. All right, local node. No, okay. We're gonna unplug it and let it sit for 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, plug it back in. If I have to, I will reflash this with the old firmware. I literally stopped updating my nodes because every single one gave me problems. At this point, my frustration with the recent firmware update 3.4.23 that has caused countless problems and precious time reached a fever pitch, and I voiced my thoughts on the issue candidly. As much as I hate self-censoring, I have a team to think about, so I decided to redact my monologue for the sake of them and the project. I still might post it elsewhere considering the magnitude of the problems that have resulted from the firmware release, and it's something that needs to be said. With a project this size, it has been just short of catastrophic. All right, let's cut that out. Let's try the IP address. Finally. I believe the last thing we did was to fix these. We turned the link quality manager off. We reboot, and then we ran into the problems. So let's go back to basic setup. Actually, I want to see what's going on here. Okay. Well, it does have an IP address from the HAP. Okay. Down here, since we turned the link quality manager off, we're going to set it manually. At minimum, put it at 0.62 miles. Now, if you're going to be talking to somebody 5 miles away, you need to do like 6 miles. I've heard not to put it on 0, even though it says, 0 is auto, it doesn't work. The link quality manager does not work. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. Okay, we applied it. Let's hit save. Okay, now we can use the upload data to AREDN servers. The reason I hit save was sometimes, since they swear there are no bugs, sometimes this will be grayed out and you have to even sometimes go to a different page and come back. So let's upload to the AREDN servers. Now this is going to cause this node to appear on the AREDN map and the mesh map. The mesh map is a little bit more advanced than the one right on their website, but the map on their AREDNmesh.org website is the main map. This node will appear on that map now. So I'm just going to hit save again, and we're going to reboot again. Now, since I'm going to be taking this tomorrow to our presentation, I'm going to do this. I'm going to plug this phone in. I'm going to plug this IP phone in, and I'm going to show, this will be a 2-part video. I'm going to show you how to add an advertised service to the node. I'd like to say it's actually not that difficult, but after this, who knows? And I don't know what's going on with that screen. I've never seen that screen that color before. Let's make sure we're completely done. Also, you can manually move this dot over to where the person lives. I'm actually going to do that. because this is way off. And I believe it can mess up the OLSR. I suspect. I have no evidence, but I suspect, because the OLSR uses GPS coordinates to calculate routing. And if it's way far off, I imagine it could mess up the algorithms. Okay. Change the location, hit apply, and then upload data to AREDN servers. Now, I'm not going to hit save right now. Okay, so this should be complete. Let's go see. It is connected to 583 devices. That means it is connected to the mesh network in Tennessee. Let's go check out on the mesh. Yes. And KM4ACK, the famous Raspberry Pi guy. And on top of that, he does a lot of other things. He's on here. The modern ham is on here, which I won't point out there. Well, obviously KM4ACK is out there, but the modern ham has not publicly posted his call sign, so I'm not going to. But he is tunneled into us, and hung out with him at the Hamvention. He's a really cool guy, intelligent. He gets what's going on in the world. He's a down-to-earth but intelligent dude. All right. That should complete the configuration. There's gonna be a lot of other stuff that you're gonna need to do depending on where you live. Again, over here at the WAN, that's your home Wi-Fi. Whatever Wi-Fi internet you're using, you're gonna input that information here. But if you have the mesh RF on, you cannot use the LAN access point if the WAN is on. All right, looks like we're good to go. So this completes the basic configuration of an AREDN node.